Sunlight sliced across tangled bedsheets and cables as SlumG lay awake in the hush, the far-off thrum of motorbikes threading through the thick quiet. He pressed his hand against the cool window, half hoping the glass would fog with his breath. Some visible proof he still existed, not just a ghost drifting through borrowed rooms. Down below, the hotel staff's voices sparked and faded, a reminder that the city was already in motion while he lingered, stalling for reasons even he couldn't name. The ache in his chest twisted into something sharper as his phone buzzed. Another stream alert, another demand, shattering the fragile calm and forcing him upright, back into his restless performance. For a moment, he hesitated at the edge of the bed, caught between the golden promise of morning and the gnaw of everything he was running from, knowing the day had already started without him. The gold of the Udaipur morning cut through the gaps in the curtains, striping the messy bed and tangled cables with lines of light that felt almost surgical. SlumG sat motionless on the edge, fingers tracing the rough seam of his charger as he listened to the city's distant rattle. Engines, barking dogs, the occasional shout, his body present, his mind hovering somewhere just above the unmade sheets. He watched the dust mote swirl in the beam and for a moment allowed himself to consider. He could leave all this, or he could step into it again, right now. No audience, no performance, just a man in the room and the day that was waiting to be chosen. A call vibrated the phone in his hand, abrupt and real. He didn't answer, but the decision made itself in the silence that followed. He stood, the floor cold underfoot, and pulled the curtain wide, letting the morning and its chaos rush in, determined this time to meet it as himself. Heat slams him as he steps from the hush, motorbikes threading past, a cow's warm flank pressing his knee, horns and shouts and the thick fried tang of street life rushing in. His helmet dangles useless by his side, a half-forgotten talisman against chaos, and in this collision of bodies and noise, the loneliness inside him rings sharp and exposed. The rig's red recording light blinks, chat's phantom voices crowd his head. He hesitates, then pushes on, heart hammering, desperate for something, anything to prove he's still real. The helmet slips from his fingers and clangs against a battered rickshaw, drawing stares. One kid grins, another shouts, "Streamer!" While SlumG, pulse racing, fakes a smile for the camera and feels the heat crawling up his neck, unsure if it's the sun or shame. In that wild press of exhausted voices, the red recording light blinks like a challenge, and he lunges awkwardly after the helmet. Not for the stream, not for chat, but just to prove, desperately, that he's still present in the chaos. As the rickshaw driver balked a price triple the local rate, a crowd gathered, kids filming on cheap phones. "I don't care about you," jeering. "He's lost already, look at him." While the helmet, scuffed and absurd, dangled from SlumG's hand like a talisman of failure. His voice caught in his throat as he tried to laugh it off for the stream, but inside the old ache sharpened. Every transaction a performance, every smirk another mask, the hope for something real dissolving into the carnival of noise. Each new interaction, rickshaw drivers with rehearsed outrage, vendors with sly grins, a surge of chat spamming L-scam, felt like flickers of 100 borrowed routines, none of them his own. The helmet's weight in his palm, the only thing tethering him to the body behind the broadcast. With every forced smile and every sidelong glance from passers-by, SlumG's chest tightened, a sour pulse of shame and defiance rising as he wondered if he could ever choose a genuine moment over another performance, or if the line was already gone. The hush of early morning slipped between terrace railings as SlumG ate cold toast with his helmet beside him, the lake below glassy and indifferent, player 8666's silhouette flickering at the edge of the rooftop, quietly filming the slow birth of sunlight over domes and water. For a moment the city's dissonance fractured. No chat, no hustle, just the faint clink of teacups and the ache of wanting this calm to mean something, to last longer than the next breath. SlumG sat in the hush of gold morning, helmet glinting at the table's edge as the lake below shimmered, indifferent to his quiet longing. A breeze rattled his chai cup, and player 866 shifted, kneeling on the ledge for a perfect shot, phone held high, fingers fidgeting. For a breath, the city's chaos muted. only the clink of spoons and the ache of wanting this moment to mean something, to last. But then, chats flood, emotes, commands, someone joking about rooftop enlightenment spilled through his phone, and a blast of horns rose from the street, breaking the spell. He blinked, pulse quickening, the ache sharper now, as if beauty's loss had charged the air and nudged him forward into the day's next scramble, serenity already dissolving under the city's relentless noise. Later, in the plush hush of a hotel bathroom, SlumG let lukewarm water swallow his skin, the drone of chats, jokes, and emotes barely muffled by the closed door. Steam curled in the lamplight, painting the mirror with rippling ghosts, while the bathtub, luxurious and out of place, felt more like a stage than a refuge. As he watched his own hand break the surface, the reflection fracturing, SlumG caught himself rehearsing a version of calm for an audience who could only see fragments. For a breath, he almost wished the cameras were still rolling. The urge to perform dug in even here, alone. Yet, as the water stilled and the echo of chat faded, a quieter truth rose up. He was tired of being a collection of curated moments. He wanted something to matter off-screen, even if it was just the honest ache of wanting, raw and unfiltered in the silence. The ceiling above the tub glimmered with watery light as SlumG traced a fingertip through the tepid film, his reflection breaking and reforming, unrecognizable each time. He wondered if the private hush was any less a performance than the city's endless stage. In the soundless drip, he rehearsed confessions that never made it to chat, the ache for something true surfacing and sinking again, as if authenticity itself might dissolve if named aloud. The market swelled around SlumG in a blur of honking rickshaws, scam artists pawing at his sleeves, and the relentless, invisible current of chat urging him towards spectacle. He fumbled with a pile of garish socks, bargaining hard, feeling each phrase slip between performance and real need, glimpsing his own face in a vendor's cracked mirror and barely recognizing the sweat-slick, grinning stranger. Smidibos brushed by, pressing a glass of chai into his hand with quiet certainty, and for a split second the world stilled. The heat, the noise, the digital swarm dissolving as the cup's warmth grounded him in something gentle, unremarkable, and briefly, painfully true. The rooftop cafe glowed with the last gold of sunset as SlumG wedged himself between player 866, knees hugged to their chest, and Loftcon, whose thermos of chai steamed in the thickening dusk. Banter and laughter tumbled between bites of greasy street pizza, the city's noise replaced by a hush that felt for once like belonging. For a fleeting moment, as player 866 snapped a photo and Loftcon offered SlumG a worn lighter, an unspoken gesture of camaraderie, he realized the ache he'd carried all day softened, not vanished, just thinned by the warmth of shared presence and the city's imperfect shimmering communion. On the edge of the balcony, SlumG let the hum of dying batteries and the trickle of fading chat recede until only the rough stone beneath his fingers and the city's distant hush remained, his reflection in the glass barely visible, fragmented, unfinished, searching. Alone with the residue of pizza grease, digital applause, and the ache for something honest, he realized tomorrow's story hadn't started yet, but for the first time, the longing felt less like a wound and more like a compass. The city below flickered in restless gold while SlumG's hands drifted over the cracked balcony rail, the helmet at his feet a silent promise that tomorrow the search would begin again. In the hush, divorced from chat and spectacle, he finally let himself feel the ache of wanting something real, small, sharp, persistent, echoing within him as the night pressed close.